He looks like he owns credit. Oh my gosh. Man like Arthur from Batman.
Namaste, dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, bonjour, hola, good morning, Privet. This is Ken at 10. How are you? I hope you're well. Big day today. Why is it a big day? The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of England meet today to discuss whether your interest rates should go up. Scary time, isn't it? Just to qualify that, of course, this is not financial advice, but what you need to know is the Monetary Policy Committee meeting is today, and it's today that they decide whether the base rate of the Bank of England is to go up. It's widely felt that it is going to go up today by 0.25 of 1% or 25 basis points, as they call it. It means 0.25%, basically. If you're on a fixed rate, it's not going to affect you, of course, initially. If you're on a variable or tracker rate, it will affect your mortgage. And no doubt you'll get one of those letters. You've had several already if you're on a variable rate, haven't you? Saying your mortgage has changed yet again. It's quite scary, isn't it? Scary for a lot of people and very frustrating. What does it mean for the housing market? Well, it was to be expected anyway, I think. And actually, fixed rates, and the key thing is to remember, is that actually base rate, the fixed rate mortgages that you obtain are not based on the current interest rate. They're based on the swap rates. And I just looked up this morning. It'd be interesting to see what happens after the announcement. But 2-year swap rates are at 4.1%. 5 years are at 3.99. And 10 years are at 3.7. So you can see there's a trend there of interest rates coming down, or the expectation by markets is that interest rates will come down over that time. And that will help fixed rates to be reasonably sensible over the period of time. Of course, that doesn't help with confidence, and it doesn't help you if you're on a variable rate. So quite frustrating and a little bit scary for everybody, frankly. So what will it mean for the housing market? Well, in the short term, the housing market will fluctuate, and you never really know. I always refer back to it, but it's very true. Do you remember when COVID started, the pandemic, and everybody said house prices will fall off a cliff? You know, we're all going to lose loads of money on our housing. What happened? Exactly the opposite. So just because interest rates are rising, it doesn't necessarily follow that prices fall off a cliff, because interest rates aren't the only things that's rising. You know what else is rising? Rents, rapidly. Reason for that? No supply. Reason for no supply? Bungled government policy, partly in terms of how they're treating landlords. And also, more actually larger still than that, is the inability of the government to understand the importance of house building. And I'll give you some stats on that. Britain's got a backlog of 4.3 million homes that are missing from the national housing market as they were never built. This deficit will take at least half a century to fill, even if the government's target to build 300,000 homes a year is reached. In other words, it's never going to happen. There's always going to be a persistent undersupply of property. And in the short term, there will be fluctuations as people decide whether they're confident to buy a house right now or not. But what's also interesting is that as the rents have gone up, so first-time buyers are now moving from rented to becoming buyers for the first time, because they want, A, the security of somewhere they can call their own, and B, not to worry about the next interest rate rise on the horizon. Of course, if you're in a position where you're fortunate enough to be able to get a mortgage, you can fix your rate for 5 or 10 or even 15 years, know what your payments will be. You can't do that with rents. So that's what I think is going on there. Apart from that, the super prime market's recovered. This is another news for today, which is quite surprising. I say it's quite surprising. I mean, the rich always seem to get richer, whatever the environment, don't they? The other thing is that people are saying that half of under 25s now live at home. More than half of those aged 24 or under still live at home. And that, again, is really part of the symptom of the housing crisis, isn't it? Average care home fees have gone up massively, more than doubled since 2002. Now, the reason this is relevant for the housing market is so many people end up selling their primary homes, or their carers or relatives end up selling their primary homes because they have to provide the money for the care homes. And the care home fees are unbelievable. If you don't know, then honestly, having been through it myself several times, I can tell you that we're talking about £1,300 per week wherever you look. And so very quickly you can fritter away any inheritance that way. And tax planning is well worth doing in those circumstances to prevent that, if you're in a position where there's a large inheritance at some point on the horizon. So, there are protections you can do, not financial advice, but there are things you can do. So apart from that, we have a kind of overcast day here in Norbury. It's kind of, the sun's just breaking through the cloud. Our flower baskets are still there. They're secured on. Someone's going to come along with some bolt cutters and cut them down at some point, probably. But literally, we have got them so locked down and they're looking beautiful. I will get a photograph if I can. And some valuations coming in as well. So thank you for those of you that have chosen to invite us in for a valuation. Really important that keeps coming for our business. And we're grateful because this is how we feed our families. So if you're thinking of selling or renting your property and you haven't yet decided what to do, or if you're trying to sell and it's not working, a change of agents can really make the difference, you know, and I'll tell you why. Good example is Rightmove. If you're on with the current agent and you've been on for a while and nothing's really happened, when you change agents and you go back onto Rightmove with a new agent, what will happen is it will come up as a new instruction. It doesn't matter what you do with your existing agent, that can't happen. And the reason it can't happen is because there's a gap, and it's 98 days that you have to wait. So you'd have to withdraw your property from your existing agent for 98 days and then put it back on for it to become a new instruction. And the problem for many clients is that they've been advised a very high price. They put it on at that price, come up as a fresh new instruction, but at a too optimistic price, so no one is interested. And then they find that they're languishing on the market because they're no longer that new hot one that's just been released. And they're just sort of sitting on the market. Nothing particularly wrong now as the price has gradually corrected, but they're not that fresh new instruction. And that fresh new instruction is where you need to be if you want to make sure you get the best possible price. And that's why you need to consider changing agents. And that's why we need to have a conversation. So if you're thinking about making the move and it's just early stages, we can have a confidential chat on the phone, or we can pop round and see you at your convenience. We'd love to do it, in fact. So that's it from me today. Hope you have a fantastic day and look after yourselves and your family and friends if you can. Ciao.